When I was 12, my life flipped upside down. Up until that point, things were pretty normal, or so I thought. My name is Emily, and I'm 17 now, but I still remember the day my parents sat me down and told me they could no longer take care of me. They claimed financial struggles were to blame, and I was sent to foster care with barely an explanation. It felt like the ground had been ripped out from under me. I didn't understand how two people who were supposed to love me could just leave. At first, I believed them. They said they had no choice, that it was temporary, and that they'd figure things out. But days turned into weeks, and weeks into months. My foster parents, the Thompsons, were kind and patient, which was a relief considering how much anger and confusion I carried. They did their best to make me feel at home. Despite everything, though, I kept holding on to the hope that my parents would come back. Then one day, about a year after they'd left, I stumbled across their social media profiles. It felt like someone had sucker punched me. Instead of the financial struggles they'd claimed, I found photos of them sipping cocktails on beaches, posing in front of landmarks, and talking about how free their new lifestyle made them feel. They had become full-time travelers, living their so-called dream while I was stuck in foster care trying to piece my life back together. I couldn't believe what I was seeing. They even had a travel blog, complete with pictures and captions like, "Living our best lives," and "Grateful for this amazing journey." There was no mention of me, my little brother Jake, or the life they left behind. I read every post obsessively, hoping for some kind of explanation, but all I found was their endless bragging about how much they loved their new life. Jake, I later learned, had been sent off to boarding school, like some unwanted afterthought. That was the moment I knew I couldn't count on them anymore. My heartbreak turned into something else. Determination. If they weren't going to be there for me, then I'd have to figure it out myself. The Thompsons helped me a lot during that time. They weren't rich or flashy like my parents pretended to be, but they were kind. They made sure I had what I needed, encouraged me in school, and gave me a sense of stability I hadn't realized I was missing. I threw myself into my studies, joining every club and extracurricular I could. It was my way of staying busy, but also my way of proving to myself that I could rise above the situation. I met my best friend Sarah that year. She had this ability to make everything feel normal, even when my life was far from it. She didn't judge me when I told her my parents had left, or when I vented about how unfair it was. She just listened, and honestly, that made all the difference. But my parents weren't done shaking up my life. One day, while scrolling through their blog again, because let's be honest, I couldn't stop checking, I saw a new post. This one hit harder than the others. They'd just returned from some exotic island, raving about how simplifying their lives had given them true happiness. The whole thing made me sick. I sent them a long, angry email, laying out everything I felt, how abandoned I was, how unfair it was that they got to live this glamorous life while I had to start over from scratch. Their response: a short, dismissive reply that said I was being ungrateful and didn't understand their sacrifices. That was the last straw. I decided then and there to cut them out of my life entirely. If they wanted freedom, they could have it, just not at my expense. With the help of the Thompsons, I started learning about saving money and setting goals. I got a part-time job and saved every penny I could. By the time I turned 16, I had a small savings account and the determination to make it grow. That year, I also found out I'd qualified for a scholarship. It wasn't just any scholarship either. It covered nearly everything. I still remember the look on Mrs. Thompson's face when she found out. She was so proud she almost cried. Hearing her talk about me like that made me realize how far I'd come. By the time I turned 17, I was thriving. I'd won an academic excellence award, which got a lot